It's Bearded Trout, and we are back at the bench for another fly tying video. If you've made it this far, thank you. Let's get started. So today we're tying a dragonfly. Slightly different, a little bit more advanced pattern, I guess, because not everybody does it. We're going to weave this one. So our material list for today is going to be some light olive sparkle chenille for the underbody, some dark olive wool. It's probably from the 70s or the 80s. I'm not sure. Some old stuff. It's got a nice color to it. Size 6 3XL, some A-dot thread in a light olive. Legs will be a variety of my choice or your choice. Typical rubber legs, pheasant, peacock, turkey. Did I say rubber? Yeah. Anyways, eyes, we'll throw some bead chain eyes on here, maybe some scudback and some dubbing. So let's get started. So start your thread here, there, or anywhere on the hook shank. We are going to want to have a good little base going here. So it's been a minute since I actually did a weave. I believe this is just an overhand weave. And if memory serves me correct, you want your lighter color, which is going to be your body color, or your underbody, on the opposite side of the shank to you. Tie that into the bend of the hook. We're going to run our thread back up. We're going to tie in our wool, which is our back, on the other opposite side of the shank. Make sure it's fairly flat. Then you can grab whatever you have kicking around. This just happens to be some, I believe it's some Fentex yarn, poly yarn, whatever it is. And once again, we're going to tie that just like that, as you can see, and I'm just going down the sides of the body. Making sure it's sitting flat. Then we'll do the same, going back, a couple wraps. That side's not sitting where it needs to be, so give it a slight adjustment. And for good measures, we'll go one more time. Trim that excess. Make sure she's still nice and flat. I'm just going to take whatever's left over and just kind of throw it on the top. Now, this isn't perfect, but we are going to adjust it here in a second. And if I can find them, I've got these, well, just a ceramic tweezer, but I will help flatten that body as best I can with that. Barb smashers, pliers of any sort will work. Now, this is definitely a crucial step in this pattern, is I like to add just a little bit of super glue. I'm just going to soak into that underbody, ensuring it holds the shank, doesn't spin on us. And now we're just going to whip finish our thread off. Now when I cut it, I've probably got a a 4-inch chunk sitting out of the bobbin, which that'll help for when we tie it on, because you're going to be holding materials and trying to grab your thread at the same time. So now that that's solid, what we're going to do is we're going to take our back and go over the shank, and then you're going to take your undercolor, wrap it over top of that, go under the shank of the hook, take your darker color, which is your back, go over the top. Once you get to the side of the shank, take your undercolor, go underneath, oop, don't lose it. Start all that again. Got to keep equal tension on everything, or else you will loop it over like that. So back over. Actually, I've screwed my hands up here. Let's backtrack here. All right, so back over, underbelly, over, under the shank, back material over, underbelly, over the material, under the shank, back material over, belly over, under shank, and just repeat this process, keeping tension on both pieces equally so that you have your rib or your side right on the side of the shank every time. I'm just going to repeat this process back and forth. Now I'm just going to take my top color, bring it over to the side. I'm going to try to keep equal tension on both of these pieces. Grab your thread. This is where it helps. I left myself a nice long piece to hold in my fingers as I pinch it, just to hold it to capture it on. And you can just go over your materials there. We can trim our excess off. So that should give you a nice flat body with your lighter belly and your darker back. So we're just gonna clean that up slightly. Grab your bead chain eyes. These are a large in a mottled brown and olive. I've got a 1,000-foot spool of these, so they are very used. I will paint these black, olive, red, orange. Just grab some spray paint, take them outside, give them a couple coatings. So we've got our eyes now. We will grab our leg material, which I'm going to use some peacock hen, just because it is right here beside me. Tying a little clump off the sides. Making sure they're about even. As you can see, one's laying, one's not. We will be able to adjust that. Trim your tail, your ends. Now we are going to grab some shell back or some scud back. Or actually, in this case, we're going to grab some Swiss straw. This is like a, it says it's dark brown, but it's got more of like a dark olive sheen to it. So I'm just going to grab a couple inches of that. I don't want it as thick, so I'm just going to take it, roughly center, give it a split, and just walk it down. Give it a little bunch back up. I'm going to tie that in right on the top. Bring it down in front of the eyes. Give it a couple of wraps there. Then we're going to grab our dubbing of choice, which this just happens to be a little bit of olive mixture with a little bit of UV flash in it. Pick your favorite dubbing color of choice, something that is going to be similar to your body color. We're just going to make a noodle so we can build our head, ensuring we work around the eyes, filling in all that space. And now with our legs, we can go back on them slightly, and that's going to lay them down the side a bit better. Get yourself a figure 8, grab a bit more dubbing. Go around those eyes, make sure you've got them all filled in. Grab our Swiss straw, little widening to go over those eyes. And just tie it in. Give yourself a whip finish. And if you want, you can grab just a touch more dubbing. Then you can also grab your coating of choice, which I always prefer my clear nail polish. Just get a little drop on top of that dubbing where you're going to double up the whip finish. Just get those few more wraps in with that dubbing. This kind of hides everything. Then we're just going to V-cut our Swiss straw. Get rid of that one random that got captured. A little Velcroing. Give your legs a little twirl. There you go. There is another Dragonfly by Bearded Trout's Flies. If you like that, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hate mail, like mail, love mail, sponsorship mail. Till the next one, this is Bearded Trout, and we're out. Tight lines and happy flies.